This is Skate, the original Skate. That's right, we're going back. We checked out 3, so you can see that on the channel, and I thought with this being added to Game Pass and EA Play that it would be a good time to dive in here to the original Skate, where it all began, and give it a look and kind of enjoy this initial skateboarding offering from EA, and to kind of talk about the experience on the platform. I don't know if the second one's available, but I know the first and third are, probably licensing and music. We have turned off the music too, because I assumed that was going to be an issue. It's actually my second take because of that. But, yeah, no. So what we're getting here is like sub 720p, or like around there. That's like the 360 sort of general sort of thing, is that kind of resolution. But what is neat is this actually runs at 60 FPS. So the 360 could only sometimes hit that mark, but now we get to actually beautifully enjoy, with all the extra power, the intensity of a smooth 60 FPS experience, which is awesome. There is no auto HDR support, which is, kind of obviously a little bit disappointing, but at the same time, visually, I don't know if the auto HDR would quite work with this one due to how kind of glowy it is. So yeah, I also had to sit here and kind of do some tutorial stuff in order to get a hang of some of the movement. I think the third one might be a little bit easier to jump into in regards to, gameplay and all that. But for the most part, I am still kind of pleased by it. I mean, it's got that old sort of vibe to it that I think works well. And I think if you're going for nostalgia, you might have some fun with it. I've also maxed out the... Oh, that guy went flying too. I've maxed out the pedestrians as well, in order to really have a lot of stuff going on. Same with the traffic, we got the maximum amount of cars going on. There's security as well. If they want to cause issues for me, they can. But yeah, it's just kind of that initial classic experience brought back and ready for action. So what you're getting here, gameplay wise, is there's a career you can work towards, and then there's free play, free skate, which is what we're doing now. And there's also some multiplayer type stuff, but I think that might be offline at this point, since it couldn't connect to that network and everything like that. And since, it is quite an old game at this point in time, so it makes sense that you might not necessarily be able to really connect and play with others. So some of the online stuff for a lot of games, vanishes over time, and I think this might just be one of them. But yeah, you kind of work through the career, skaters to unlock, you get to make your own kind of skater or something like that. I got to customize my own. And then there's also some other challenge type things you can do. The game's got a rad sort of replay system to it if you pull off anything, significantly tricky or cool. They have those options for you. You just get a wild selection of different playgrounds to kind of play in, have a good time playing in, and just doing your skateboarding. That's what it's all about. Chilling out, shredding. Don't want to be too sketchy, if you know what I'm talking about. Ow. That was pretty bad. But yeah, the game features also a neat control scheme. It uses what I would call the skill stick. So in NHL 2007, they basically introduced the skill stick, which is you're using the right stick to kind of pull off skills and movements. I say NHL, which might sound odd, but, that's kind of just what I called it in other EA games as well, is that it's just the skill stick. You use the right stick to kind of, pull off your tricks, your movements, and it makes sense, I think it's kind of a little simplistic in regards to some of the skateboarding techniques you can pull off in comparison to, the later ones, but for the most part, it's actually kind of a neat, system in that regards. You can do all kinds of different things with it. You can flip around, do 360 stuff. It's kind of neat. Just in regards to what you can do in the different settings, you can kind of have it play here as you go around skateboarding, which is kind of neat. What? Look at that sick twist. So with that, we're going to switch over to another area so you can see a different playground of skateboarding in action here. Oh, tricky. So this is a community center area, I think, in the suburbs. So I just thought this would be a much different spot to kind of show off. The game's also got a really intense fixed angle camera, which I think is kind of a little crazy, almost claustrophobic. But at the same time, it really gives you that central focus on that board. I think a lot of people that initially jumped in with this one would probably be very familiar with it and be like, oh yeah, this is how it used to be. Kind of neat. And I'd say, you know, environment-wise, it doesn't look too bad when you're moving around here. You know, like the concrete and stuff like that. Not bad at all. Some of it's a little low res, but you know, you look at like trees and people and stuff. That's usually much more jagged around the edges. Definitely not as clean as Skate 3 would be, resolution-wise. Oh, could you move out of the way there, sir? You know, at the same time, it's still not too bad looking, and it's got like this old school kind of charm to it. I imagine a lot of people's like thumbs would be like just sore from doing like all the tricks on this, with, like the grip on the controller. I feel like, whoa, you know, kind of neat. Oh, I thought I was gonna like kind of hit that and then do like a cool grind thing. It's definitely not as like stylized as I want to say the Tony Hawk games. Like those ones might actually be more arcadey, where this might be considered more of a technical type skateboarding game. Not in a bad way, not in a bad way at all, but I'm just saying this like kind of maybe leads a little bit more to the simulation element of the kind of experience of skateboarding. And it's amazing that gaming in general has such like a big skateboarding audience behind it, that it could support so many games, because nowadays, you know, we've got like, well, what do we have? We got the, how many Tony Hawk games? We got the Skate series, which is coming back. We've got Skatebird, we've got Ollie Ollie, we've, you know, Session, Skate XL. There's a lot of skateboarding titles. Almost seem saturated, but at the same time, you know, they continue to decently do well and carve out their own niche within the different options. And it's just amazing that that type of thing, you know, exists to this degree. I think that's kind of cool. And you just pull off neat tricks. I mean, I'm not even doing like the advanced things. There's like session markers and replay systems. Like I said, there's quite a lot going on in this one, and you can do your like intense grinding, and you can play and have fun with it. And you know, it's like a simpler time to skateboard. You know, it was cool. It was rough. It was like, you know, you had the pro skater things, and EA's like, I'm gonna get onto that, but like way later, basically, right? Because I think almost at this point, the Tony Hawk series would have been in its twilight years of successful titles. Like, I think most of the Tony Hawk games that I really remember playing were mostly from the, you know, PS2 type era back then. Like, I guess original Xbox era, you would say, Xbox-wise, like, you know, oldies. I don't really remember there being a strong presence of Tony Hawk games on, like, 360 and PS3. I know there were some, but I don't remember the series quite, like, being as talked about or hitting the heights that the original entries did. At least, again, from what I recall, you know, that's just kind of like the atmosphere of the different people that would talk about, you know, skateboarding games, and I would hear about them, and I'd be like, oh, it's interesting. You know, you hear things. Try to keep focus on different stuff that's going on, but it's kind of nice just to be chilling out here, skateboarding freely, showing off the game, not sucking too much. That's always a good thing, you know, not too many wipeouts. But enough to be like, hey, you know, the wipeouts are pretty cool looking. You really kind of violently fall down. Although I do kind of want to hit a crowd almost, because I know that sounds bad, but when you hit the crowd, they all just like go flying and stuff. It's actually pretty entertaining. So we can maybe make our way over there, get out of the central setup here, and get over to that spot where we could potentially see some traffic. There we go. We're almost there, out on the streets. But yeah, the later entries, they just really, you know, expand the scope of this one in a lot of interesting ways. It's quite neat. When you see like the density of pedestrians and stuff maxed out, it's really funny that this is like considered maxed out, because there really aren't that many pedestrians if you think about it. Oh look, there's like old grannies going by. This is what our skateboarding society feels about you guys. Haha. Just kidding. Oh, the house is for sale. This is like 2000s. Well, the house is probably like kind of affordable still. But yeah, you can like run into people and cause problems. It's kind of neat. You get decently big areas too. You know, you can kind of move freely there. Hey, you like my board? How do you like getting hit by my board? And that is, that's basically the original Skate. On Series X. Hey, I just saw your sister. Oh.